This is Professor Homa. I'm going to review part 1 of the Holiday Card 2 exercise. It's the exercise we worked on the second last week of classes. There were 2 parts, one with inset photos of kids on Santa's lap, unless you're going to use things of your own. And there was this one that we started off with. And I'm going to just go over this just to review a couple things. Silhouetting, cloning, using layer masks. So this file that I have open right now, this background 2 JPEG, is from the Holiday Card 2 folder. It's called background 2. It's of this white farm. I just opened it as a JPEG. I'm going to go file new, and as always we're going to, well, we're not as always, but we're going to start off with a 6x4 photo, and that's what we're going to put our image into. So width is 6, height is 4. We're going to make sure that we're at high resolution, 300, and RGB, 8-bit, with a white background is fine for now. So I'm going to hit OK, and there's my 4x6 photo, and I'm going to bring that background that I just saw into it. And one way I could do that is go up here to my Arrange Documents and tile the windows side by side, and I could use my Move tool and drag this image over. And you need to see that outline there, so I'm going to drag it in there, and then I could close this image. And I'm going to zoom out, and I'm using my mouse to do that. And you can see that this image, now that I go back, is quite a bit bigger than my 4x6. So it's cropped quite a bit. I'm going to zoom in more to see a little bit more of that road, to kind of put the road off to the right side, so it kind of leads you into this picture here. And I'm going to cut off some of that tree over there. That's about good. I'm going to bring it down to see a little more sky, and that's about where I'm going to leave it right now. So I'm going to hit return on my keyboard, and now you can see that bar went away. So what I'm also going to do is a couple things. I'm going to bring another element into here and silhouette it. I'm also going to do some cloning, getting rid of the pole, the wires a little bit, maybe even some of the tracks, depending on what we do. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another document. I'm going to go File, Open, and in that same folder, I'm going to open up a file called Girl in Wagon. Now this is in a kind of different scene, but I'm going to put her in this scene. And to do this, now we're going to use a selection tool to kind of silhouette that's going to help us get around this area. And there is a lot of contrast between the wagon and her clothes and the wheels in the background, so it should be an easier attempt to silhouette this. But before I do that, I don't want to silhouette it here. I just want to take most of the image of what I'm going to need. So I'm just going to put a marquee right in the JPEG here. So I'm not going to use any kind of selection tool to go around it real close. I'm just going to take everything that I need, and I could just go Edit Copy, and then I'm going to go back to my Photoshop document, and I'm going to go Edit Paste. And when you go Edit Paste, it becomes a new layer. So I'm going to name my layer Girl in Wagon. And I'm going to scale her down, holding Shift to keep it in proportion. And I'm going to do it so that she's kind of, we're going to put her in the road here. So I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. I'll zoom into this so we kind of fill up the screen here. But we're going to bring her in here so it looks like we're on the road. Maybe even line up those tracks so it looks like those are tracks from the wagon that's in here. So we're going to kind of put her in this environment and get rid of the background that's on here. So before I do anything, I'm going to hit return, and I'm going to OK that transformation. Okay, then what I'm going to do, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to silhouette this element. I'm going to use the Quick Selection tool, which is the second one down, and it's the 2 tools that are here. You can see there's the Magic Wand tool, and that's the one where the Magic Wand, when you just click on areas, actually I clicked on the transparency, but if you click on areas of color, it'll actually make selections based on similar color, and you could adjust the tolerance, and we'll use that occasionally. But right now I want to use the Quick Selection tool, which you kind of brush areas of color. So I'm going to really zoom into this, take my brush, and actually this is not a bad sized brush. I might go a little bit smaller. And the way this works is you kind of brush into the areas that you want to select, and it kind of finds neighboring areas of pixels. And I don't need it to be perfect or completely perfect, but the way this Quick Selection tool works is if it selects things that you don't want, you could hold Option to kind of deselect from it. But right now I'm just kind of bumping the edge because it's kind of missing some things that I do want. And I'll scroll down a little bit, And I'm just kind of like pushing these areas, and I can see it's getting some areas that I'm not going to want, like some areas under there. But that's okay. Actually, I may even keep the shadow. And over here I need to get this tire, and I can see right now it just selected everything. So I have to I'm going to Command Z and just go back. You can see I'll push slowly into this area, but the tire is very, and I'll undo that again. The tire is very similar to the background, and here I'm getting areas of the background too. So I'm going to Option click, and now I'm holding Option to get rid of this stuff that I got. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing to use, especially when you have areas right here where that tire is very close to the background. So I think for now what I'm going to do is I'll use a layer mask to bring more of that in. But I have a good bit of this selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer mask. And now that I have a selection, I'm going to go to Layer, Layer Mask, and I have 4 choices: Reveal All, Hide All, Reveal Selection, or Hide Selection. So since I just took all this time to select the inner part of the wagon, that's the part I want to reveal. So I'm going to go to Layer, Layer Mask, and I'm going to say Reveal Selection. You can see what that does. It hides everything else. It puts that, I'll Option click on the mask just so you can see it. This is what it does. It puts black and it hides certain areas, and white is what's revealed. Now obviously I'm going to have to put more white to get back that tire. There's a line here that I have to get rid of. I can do that, and I'm Option clicking right on the mask to kind of see it in black and white. But you can see here I'm missing the tire, so I got to bring that back. So to do that, if you go down here to your layer palette, on the mask part, see, this is the image, this is the mask. If I go down here to the mask part and select that, I could use my paintbrush, and if I paint with black, it'll hide things. You know, there, I just got rid of that, which I don't want, so I'll undo it. But if you want to reveal things, you could paint with white. So if I wanted to go over here and reveal that tire that's over here, and I'll just reveal kind of roughly, and then I'll go around closer and kind of edit around it. I'm going to zoom in here and edit around this tire now. Now I could go back and paint with black and hide some of this stuff now. You could even use your Shift key to like click once, go somewhere else, hold Shift, and kind of make more of like a straight line selection. I know it's kind of rounded around the tire here, but we're just finding little short areas that may be easier than to do it completely by hand. Down here I'll just click once, I'll hold Shift and go over here and click again. It kind of makes like a straight line. Now some of this I don't have to do a whole lot, because I might even leave some of this shadow in here, because it may not be that noticeable that it's different, you know, on this road, on this snowy road here. I have some areas, you know, inside here where I may just leave that, because, you know, I could adjust the color a little bit to make them look a little more similar. But let's see, I'm painting with black right now. You could use this little arrow in here to switch it back and forth, so I'll paint back with white. And just to get that edge there, here's some areas that are missing here. But it's not too bad, but that's basically how you work with a layer mask. Here's areas that are missing, so I paint with white to bring that tire back. And up here, I think there may be some areas missing, so I'm going to kind of make a straight line here. And if there's areas I want to hide, I'll go back with black. You can see here, if I click once, go over here and hold Shift, it'll make kind of a straight line, and it'll kind of act like it's erasing, even though really it's not erasing, it's just painting with black and covering up things. So some of this other stuff I'm going to leave alone. As I zoom back, and there's a little piece that got left on there, and there's areas here on the picture. There's a line, I think, that got left there. And I could Option click on the mask just to see if there's any artifacts down here. And I could paint right on the mask like that too, just paint with black. I'll paint with black over here, and I could paint with white. I mean, I'm just kind of guessing that's where the tire ends. And I'm Option click back on the mask. So, and that might not have been perfect over there, so I could tweak that again. I could go back with black and use a smaller brush to kind of get into these tight areas in here. So if I wanted to get rid of some of that in there, silhouette a little bit better. But that, for now, that's pretty good. I don't need to be that critical with this right now. But I'm going to stop right there just to give you a break of what we're doing. But this, again, what I did was I pasted this in here with the pixels intact that are around it. And then I tried to select it as best I could with a quick selection tool, which is one of the ways you could select things based on areas of color. So if there's a difference between the foreground and what's kind of behind them, you could sometimes use that quick selection tool. It all depends on your content of what you're working with. But I was able to get some of that done, and then I was able to add a layer mask, which puts the special element on a layer which black pixels hide and white pixels reveal. So I was able to do that. The black pixels are basically hiding everything around here. I could take that layer mask, and the important thing is that I didn't really delete anything. So I could use white and black to kind of hide things and bring things back. I'm not actually erasing pixels, which is kind of permanent. And if you erase something that you don't that you need to keep, you'd have to paste the whole image back in again. So it's certainly a protective way of editing layers and taking things away from a layer. So I'm going to stop right now, and then we'll pick up with some of the cloning and a little bit more with this